oh man. Welcome to the Peach State Power Hour presented by UGAsports.com. I'm your host, Paul Maharry, joined alongside, as always, Andy Stowe and Eddie from Acworth. Apologies for not being on last night. Wife was in the hospital. We got her home, though, so we're doing all right now over on this side of town. And we will be back for sure for the Alabama game, POS. But we're here with you now on Sunday night. Like I said, the Peach State Power Hour presented by M. Jones Heating and Cooling. We'll talk a little bit more about them a little later on. Guys, I wasn't able to give any thoughts last night. As to this game, I've got a lot on my brain.
It's getting ready to explode, isn't it?
Along with a massive headache from this weekend. So it's just, I'm ready to go, man. Before we do, though, if you're watching for the first time, we appreciate you watching. If you watch for a long time, you know what to do already. Let us know where you're watching from. We'll shout it out on the screen. And as always, guys, your comments help move and dictate this show where we want it to go. But really, it's for you guys. So let us know what you want to talk about. Put it in the comments section and share with your friends. We're going to have a nice little Peach State Power Hour tonight presented by M. Jones Heating and Cooling. Andy Stowe, how was your weekend, my friend?
Well, outside of whatever last night was, it was pretty good. So, yeah, I'm not sure about that one. That was, I don't know. That one's got me a little worried. I'll say that. But other than that, I'm good. Yeah, so I'm good.
Worried. Okay. All right.
Chop it up. Yeah.
What you got, E from A?
All right, I'm going to start the show with this, Paul. You can just say the old man yelling at clouds. Friday night, Freddie Freeman comes back to Atlanta. But for the love of God, Atlanta fans, can we stop giving the enemy a standing ovation when he comes to the doggone plate? It's over. What do you mean no? We did it one time when he came back after the fiasco or whatever. It's over. He's the enemy. But you sound like my son. You're as soft as my son. He was like, I don't think that's a big deal. It's a big deal. Why are we cheering the enemy now? We've done that.
My God, it's Freddie Freeman. I love the guy. I can't.
It's Freddie, dude. If it's anybody else, do it one time. It's Freddie. Freddie doesn't come home often. Let him come home. Brett Weimer's here. Evening, man, he says. Roger Murray's watching from Calhoun and Tacoma. He's watching from both cities.
How are you doing that? That's impressive.
From both cities. That's impressive, Roger. I like that. That's the first time I had two cities. You've been one person, two cities. That's awesome. Yeah, Elberton, Georgia, James, Georgia. And then we got Dog 85. He says, I hope we suit up the first string for Bama. Maybe Kirby intentionally played like it was his first game. All right, guys. Well, tough game, 13-12. Kathy Compton said it great. She says she's watching in Greensboro, Georgia. Tough game. Running Springs, California, on fire. I don't know if you're saying that's where you're from, Dog 85, or if the city's on fire. Either way, God bless. Mountain Man, 73. He's here. Jeremy's in here. Foster's in here. Okay. John Green says, don't overreact from Navarre?
Navarre?
Yeah, Navarre. I think it's Navarre.
Navarre, I got it. Yeah. I went to school for journalism, Andy. Don't question me.
Hey, I used to watch Ozark, so they called it Navarre. So I'm just saying.
All right, guys. 13-12. Enough of the This was a tough game to watch because we talked about it kind of pre-show, guys. Andy made a good point. You felt like at almost every step of the way, Georgia was going to pull away.
Yeah. Right.
And we said it in the first quarter after the first drive, from both teams. I think Andy texted something like, all right, here it goes. We're going to turn it on here. It didn't get turned on. Then I think it was the next drive. I was like, all right, I think this is the one. And it just never ended up where it needed to be, right? Obviously, at the end it did, 13-12. Georgia, I don't want to say they lucked into a win or backed into a win, but one of the dumber play calls I've seen, Mark Stoops not going for it on that fourth down and punting it. His team had all the momentum.
100%.
I feel like they probably could have pushed the game away there. Just a lot to kind of dissect in this game. And not a lot that you can walk away with and say, hey, this was, have good praise towards it. There's a lot of things you can look at and say, all right, we need to work on this. And I don't think this first bye week for Georgia could come at a better time. This obviously you're playing Bama, so you want it before Bama. But if you're going to have this game, right, give Kirby 2 weeks to work off of this game and get some guys healthy, because we saw the defensive line. You go look at the numbers for the snap count on the defensive line. Those guys played a ton, and there wasn't a lot of rotation there with all those guys being out. So a lot to dive into, a lot of time a lot of time to get into it. Andy, you've had a day to process it now. You weren't on the POS, I don't think.
No, I didn't get on. No.
Your initial thoughts. Where are you at with this?
I really don't know. I don't, because, we were talking about, you look at what they did versus Kentucky last year, the year before. So they're playing down to the guys they're playing. Like, they don't seem, when they're playing a big game at the Clemson game, we got up and killed Clemson. But then this week it looked like we would just blow this team out, and they just sort of played down to Kentucky. I have some concerns. Do we have a playmaker on the outside? Is that why they're able to cover, just to bring everyone in and block our run? Because I really felt our run game this year was going to be, back to like 2018-19 type running. And even with Trevor Etienne, who, we'll get there. He was my guy, but
Andy, you know what that means?
I think you know what it means.
Yeah. Eddie definitely knows what it means. Yeah. Foster says,
it's my nickname.
If you're listening to this and you don't get to see it live, Foster, if you're listening to the podcast, he says that game almost drove me to put a line on the table.
Yeah.
Dog in here too. What's up? And Marshmallow.
He wins tonight.
Damn, everybody's coming out tonight. All right, sorry, Andy.
No, I don't know. I think they're able to. I don't know that we got a playmaker on the outside, or Brock Bowers. We'll get into him later, but he did have 9 catches for 98 yards today. Maybe we just don't have a guy that can stretch the field, so they're able just to come down and stop our run. So we have concerns. I was the one that said we were going to go undefeated, best team ever.
I
did say that.
Stand by it.
Yeah, don't back down off of it now.
No,
I'm not backing down.
I know.
Last night, we have some concerns on the offensive line, the defensive line, wide receivers, tight end. I mean, there's a lot. So
there's a lot more concerns, and we talked about this. Last night. There's a lot more concerns because we ran through in the summer, in the dog day of summer, we ran through each position, position by position, and we said maybe the secondary. We tried to find a weakness, right? And I think I was the only one that said maybe the secondary. Well, the secondary to me hasn't been a weakness at all. They've played great.
No.
Yeah.
I think the weakness on this team is probably wide receiver, and the problem is you lose Ladd, you lose Rosemy Jackson, you lose Brock. You lose. I mean, you can go down the list of guys that have been at Georgia the last 2 years, and how many of those guys are in the NFL now? Even guys like Kyrus Jackson, you lost him. Like, he would be an integral piece, I think, on this team.
Oh, yeah.
There's not that wide receiver one yet. Not saying there won't be, right? But right as of now, I don't see a wide receiver one. I really like what Colby Young can do. I would like to see more of him.
But he's not going to stretch the field. It doesn't seem like
that's not his role. That's not his role.
But I think I texted you guys earlier today when I was doing the grades. What did I say? 5 wide receivers played? And
that was something I noticed. We're not rotating. Yeah, we're not rotating guys a lot. And is that a new thing that we're doing?
Well, they're also not rotating. I had a buddy text me during the game last night. He said, Paul, what's up with the running backs? Normally there's a rotation there. And I said, look, it's a new running backs coach.
Yeah.
Del McGee's not there anymore. And you would get mad, Eddie. I'm going to get to you in a second. I apologize. You would get mad, Eddie, when there was this full rotation of running backs and not one guy could get going. Now you have it to where Trevor Etienne rushes for 19 attempts. The next guy underneath him is Carson with 5.
Yeah.
And then behind him is Branson and Frazier with 2 apiece. I can't tell. Oh, yeah, 3. I apologize. Yeah. I can't tell you the last time that's happened to where a Georgia running back had 19 and then the next running back behind him only had 3 touches.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often, and it's going to be tough. Eddie,
I'm good with that because but I mean, Trevor Etienne is our best running back, so I mean he needs to probably be
okay. So you're okay with kind of this workforce mentality?
Oh, I'm okay with it.
Here's the problem with that, Andy, is we're only in game 3 right now.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to play Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas, Tennessee. Is he going to be able to? That's an NFL schedule. If you add in the playoff games, that's a full on. Schedule.
I get what you're saying, but when you're playing a tight game, your dudes have got to be dudes, and Etienne's a dude, so he's got to be the guy on the field. So
yeah, Eddie, it's been 10 minutes. Well, you ranted about Freddie Freeman, but I apologize to you. It's been 10 minutes. We haven't got you, and I feel like you're just ready to go. So what do you got?
Okay. That's okay. Letting y'all do your things. That's fine. I'm gonna get into the weeds, and then when we end this, I'm gonna get a 30,000-foot view, if that's okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start this way.
We're starting in the weeds and we're working our way up.
That's what I'm gonna do. I don't give a shit what y'all do. This is what I'm gonna do.
All right.
David Pollock. This is David Pollock. This will be very unpopular amongst Georgia fans. I see a lot of really good players on offense, but I don't see a lot of great. That hurt. That is not only true, but it hurts. I think he's 100% right there. And I'm gonna give you guys 3 concerns that I got out of this game. The first, I brought this up to you guys preseason, and you didn't laugh at me. You kind of like, whatever. Jared Wilson. I brought this up to you guys. Those 2 bad snaps could have lost the football game for us. They were horrid.
Well, he was my reason why we may not win a national championship was because of that.
You did say that. That's right. And the ancillary to that is that Tate Ratledge may be out for the year. I don't know. I know nothing. I'm just saying that from the top of my head because it looked gruesome. Who's your backup center at this point? If God forbid. Yeah, it may be. I mean, that's not good. Okay. All I'm saying is there were not clean snaps. And if you do that against Alabama, that's probably a touchdown going the other way. Thank God it was Kentucky. Second, y'all remember Todd Hartley talking about the tight end room, maybe the best in the country. He said that preseason. We talked about that.
I mean, but you're going to say that about your room every year, I feel like. But yeah, go ahead. I'm not going to make you that. I'm not counteracting your point here. Go ahead.
Grade, Lawson Lucky, 59. Oscar Delp, 38. Benjamin Urasek, 38. What the hell?
What is that number? What is that number?
The grades that I pulled up. Okay.
From where? Where were those grades from?
These were not. This is not PFF. Okay, I pulled the PFF may be different, but they were not good. You can go pull it up from PFF. They're not good.
Okay.
Now I'm not expecting a Brock Bowers to come out of this group by any means, but you got to be better than that. Urasek looked like crap. He was on the field for 7 plays, and one of those he gave up a massive missed block, and it killed us. Okay, you got to do better than that. Lastly, 9 penalties for 85 yards. 9. 2 of those on one drive. We gave up 30 yards, right? Now, you can argue some of those were ridiculous, like the roughing the quarterback, some of those holding calls, whatever. They happen, okay? They count. You do that against Alabama, whatever. Okay, whatever. I'll send it to you. I got it on my phone.
No,
I'll send it to you guys.
It's just, man. I really want to hang out with Foster one day in person, man.
Yeah, come on the show. I mean, he can log on.
He said Eddie got there. He got those numbers from WikiLeaks. That's crazy. Okay,
whatever. I'm reading stats right now. Okay, okay. I'm on a roll.
Yeah.
The penalties were awful. We got to clean those up. Can they be cleaned up? I don't know. I mean, you think so? I mean, a lot of holding calls. We can't get off the field on 3rd down. I'm like, we got off the field, and then oh God, there's a holding call down the field we didn't see. Right. Whatever. Lastly, Kentucky, 45 rushes for 170 yards. That's only 3.7 yards a carry.
Yeah.
Guys, the yards after contact
were
terrible. I've never seen Georgia miss tackles like they did in this game. There was one play where that what's the guy's Berrien
Brown.
Berrien Brown.
He's a hell of a good receiver. But he caught the ball out in the flat. There were 2 Georgia guys. They almost collided, and Berrien goes around him and gets 5 more yards. We got to clean that up. I've never seen a Georgia team this undisciplined when it comes to tackling. That's my concern right there.
Yeah.
I haven't. We were in the backfield. That's the thing. Like we've been sitting here complaining about, not getting pressure. We had guys in the backfield just missing tackles. And I've never our issue in the last couple of years has not been the tackling. It's been not getting the pressure. And now we were getting pressure all night, but we just could not stop them in the backfield.
One of the best plays of the night was when Raylan Wilson made that play and he caused that fumble. You remember that when Damon Wilson got that fumble? And if you watch Raylan Wilson, he did the rush correctly. he broke down. And I think that's what we were doing all night long. We were almost rushing past Vandergriff. It was too fast.
Yeah.
Hopefully that can be corrected. But that was the best rush of the night. And he caused a sack, caused a fumble, and that turned into a big play in the game.
Alex Page mentions is he says, y'all heard what Kirby said after the game and that the team played like they didn't believe what the coaches were telling them all week, that Kentucky was 100%. A good team. Yeah, I think we all fell into that trap after watching them play against South Carolina, right? I thought that Georgia was going to go up there and dominate them. Now, is this Kentucky team a 9-win team this year? It's going to be tough, right? They already have two losses.
Yeah.
Are they going to be maybe the best 7-win team in the nation? Maybe, probably, But this isn't Texas. This isn't Alabama. This isn't Ole Miss, and this isn't Tennessee. And I see a lot of comments, saying, well, Georgia plays bad in Kentucky in just recent years in Kentucky. I get that, but you still Kentucky's not it's not a terribly hard place to play.
No, that field's not. No.
Other stadiums.
That's not like going down to LSU or going down to Tuscaloosa. I mean, that's
right. Having to play a night game in Death Valley. It's not the same, right? For whatever reason, Kentucky has their number. The first drive, and none of you guys caught it because I texted to you, but Carson audibled out of a play, and Pop came in front. Dumas Johnson came in front of the defensive line, in between the defensive line and the offensive line, and was telling them to play. And then he echoed it to the secondary and the rest of the linebackers. He knew what was going on. Pop's an intelligent player. That could also factor into this a little bit too, and at the end of the day, why did they not
change that? If they knew he knew what the calls were going to be, why wouldn't they change it up?
I don't think Pop played a whole lot for them anyway. He didn't play a ton for them. He wasn't in there a lot. So when he was in there, it was.
Does that feed into a little bit about Brock Vandergriff understanding how our defense plays and
sure? And he went against a lot of those guys for a long time.
Exactly. That's my point.
But
he didn't light us up though. 14 for 27.
He made plays with his legs though that killed us.
He did, but I mean, he had that one long run. You take the one long run out, he only had 9 yards. He had 26 yards total, and he had the 17-yard run. Outside of that one run, that's 9 yards. So
Garrett Keys in the building. He says Red Rain from the Dogman said it best. Lexington is our new Williams Bryce from the late 90s to 2010s. It's just a bugaboo for us. It could be. Is it okay? All right. Let's put this either to bed or not. Is it just Kentucky and playing in Kentucky? Was it Kroger Field now up there in Lexington? Is it just as simple as that Georgia can't play up there, and 2 years from now, when Georgia has to go back up there, we're going to see the same result again? Is it that? Because it seems like there's a crowd that says that's what it is. It's just Kentucky's a tough place to play for Georgia. Stoops has his number, yada, yada, yada. Is that what it is? Hunter Lacey is screaming yes. Hunter also, I think, in the comments, hates on us on each one of the shows in the comment section after. So, Hunter, stop hating, man. We like you, brother. He says yes.
We appreciate the hate too.
Hate watching. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Is it as simple as that?
I don't know. I'm looking. In 2014 we beat them 63-31 there.
But look at the past, the year 2 years ago and then 4 years ago.
2018 we won 34-17. 2020 we won 14-3, and 2022 we went 16-6.
Right.
But what is it that they're doing? That team does not have half the talent that Alabama. That team doesn't have half the talent that we have. They should not be able. Go ahead, sir.
They are overlooking Kentucky. We all did it. This is my 30,000-foot view. If last week they beat South Carolina 21-3.
Yeah.
We beat the hell out of Kentucky this weekend. Did you watch that game last weekend? South Carolina ran roughshod all over Kentucky. They looked lost. Brock Vandergriff looked like a high school quarterback.
He did.
It was ridiculous.
Was he 3 for 10?
Watched it. I said 53-6. Y'all watched it. Paul, I don't know what your prediction was. I don't know if it covered or not.
No, I said they would cover. It was like 38 to something. Yeah.
38-10, whatever. And we don't cover, whatever. Everybody predicts. You're telling me that we're the only people that see that? The players see that. The coaches see it. They all play into this, okay?
Yeah.
They saw what happened last week and like, we're good. We got this. We'll just get past this game and we're on to Alabama. And Kentucky smacked us in the mouth for 4 quarters, and we never overcame it.
I want to ask, I saw a guy, Jason Bray, he put in the comments, he said play calling was awful. What is your take on that, Paul? I
think
that's just such an easy thing to say.
Is that not a cop out? Yeah.
Okay. So, well, here's the deal, right? And this is why over at UGA Sports, we used to, when I don't know, 8 years ago, we would break down, and instead of doing the PFF grades, which we just copy over from PFF to give folks an idea of what other people were thinking, I was tasked with breaking down the offense, the defense, and the special teams and giving them a grade.
Okay.
And we did it for, I don't know, a year or so. And then I think Coach Donnan kind of came in the picture, and he was like, you guys can't grade it because you don't know if it's play calling or execution.
Exactly.
It's one or the other. And if you don't know the play call itself and know who the route is, that, the hot read and who the number one is, number two, it's so tough to blame it on play calling as opposed to execution. Now you have other guys like who have played the game, right, that can do that. But like for us to sit here and like kind of armchair quarterback that in a sense, I feel like that's tough. And again, even those guys that are watching it, I think Aaron Murray does a great job on YouTube with kind of breaking down plays and stuff like that. But even those guys, you're still almost guessing at what the reads are for that particular play. You might have had it a different way when you were quarterback on your team, but this team might have the same play, but their read is different. So it's just the play calling aspect of it is tough, right? Because you're trying to place blame on somebody. And the easy cop out, like you said, Andy, is it's Bobo. Bobo's Boboing again.
That was me, by the way. That wasn't you.
Was that you?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, well,
that's the point. If Carson Beck hits Dylan Bell in stride, which he should have done, and that goes in for a touchdown, is the play calling still horrendous?
Right.
Maybe.
But there's also plays, Eddie, where you can look at it the other way and say that was probably not the right play call there. Even if they executed that properly, they were only going to get 3 yards out of that play.
That's that's the side I live. I think it's probably a little bit of both. Like might have made some calls that needed to be changed. But again, if you have a wide open receiver and you just miss them, I don't care who's the coach. It doesn't matter if we can go get Monken. If you miss a wide open wide receiver, it doesn't matter who's calling it.
But doesn't that go back to the fact that Carson Beck's been getting mathed all night long in the pocket? He's been getting killed, and he's been running for his life, and he sees a guy open, and he throws it probably, I don't know, quicker than he should have. I don't know.
A little happy.
Footwork wasn't right, whatever, right? So it all weighs into it.
Eddie, I'm going to have to stop you there. Do you throw the ball left-handed?
Yes, I'm left-handed, Paul.
Okay, that's all I took away from that. I saw you.
I'm left-handed.
Okay. I didn't know if that was a mirror type thing, but then I saw the ring.
I'm left-handed.
Okay. Chris Rowe says, yes, I can tell you the fans there were loud, real loud. They got to 130 decibels, so it's loud when Georgia snapped the ball. It's not Death Valley loud, but it was slam-packed with Kentucky fans, and every last one in there was on their feet screaming. Yes, they were packed in there. And
we gave them a reason to scream all game long.
You're right. They stayed around. They stuck in.
Yeah.
Foster Moss makes a good point. He says Georgia was thinking about Bama, and Kentucky was ready for a bar fight. They were.
That's very
Kentucky
possible.
wanted to make a statement last night.
Yep.
JT Ingram said maybe blame the offensive line coach.
Okay. Can I stop you right there?
Yes, sir.
How huge is it that Tate Ratledge goes out? Tate Ratledge, he is one of our leaders on the offensive line and the team. He goes out, the whole game plan changes right there. That's like a Marius Mims going out in the SEC championship. Okay, you're like, oh, just roll another guy in there. It ain't that easy. Tate Ratledge is a badass, and that hurt us on the offensive line.
Yeah.
Now I will say, Micah Morris, if you could have any backup come in
No, I'm not knocking Micah Morris.
No, no, but
he's a backup for a reason, right?
Well, yes. I mean, I think he's a backup only in the sense that they have 3 guards that are SEC caliber worthy, but they only have 2 positions to put him in.
Right.
But I totally agree with you. I'm just saying, if you had any guy that could step in, Micah Morris is not that far of a drop off for you from Ratledge. You never want to lose an offensive lineman, but if you had to lose somebody, losing Ratledge to Morris isn't a big of a drop as it would be at other positions.
Yeah, and some people in the comments are saying it was bad when Ratledge was in there, and it actually got better after Morris came in. So, and that's the thing. I didn't see a drop.
I'll just say that. How long was Tate in there? It wasn't that long.
It's like 18 plays, I think it was. Maybe
a quarter and a half. Something.
How long was he out before halftime? Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because he was standing. I think he was standing on the sideline.
Yeah, he was out before halftime because ETN ran into the locker room before halftime.
Yeah, and he went in. He was there.
Yeah. Well before that.
Yep.
Yeah.
BTD Troutman, that's a hell of a truck you got there, brother. He says, horse crap. Bobo single-handedly throws off the rhythm of the game. There's going to be people that are just Bobo deniers, and that's fine. Everybody's fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fan is short for fanatic. And when you have a game that is 13-12, you have to find somebody to put the blame on because you just can't believe that your team was this close to losing to a Kentucky team that shouldn't have been the game with you. It was a 22-point spread at Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas is rarely wrong in the sense that they're off by 21 points. You don't see Vegas off by 3 touchdowns every weekend. You don't.
And I'll go back to this. If you guys remember, this is, probably a year ago, we had on Paul Etheridge, former tight end at University of Georgia, offensive coordinator at Marist. You remember what he said, guys? Everybody's an offensive coordinator. Nobody's a defensive coordinator. Nobody. Yep. So basically what that guy just said, I don't remember who it was who had that comment. He can critique the offense and say, Bobo sucks. He is not critiquing what Kentucky did on defense to counteract what we were trying to do on offense. And they schemed us perfectly for the entire night. Okay, they did. They manhandled us up front on the defensive line. So, I mean, you can crap on Bobo all you want, but there's another team out there that has players on scholarship as well that are making plays.
Old HBTFD Dogcast says, I disagree with Paul on that one. I'm not looking to blame anyone. Hey, I think you might be one of the few. And if you are, I appreciate it. You know, it doesn't have to be blame every time, but I think there's a lot of people that want to know.
Well, a game like this, isn't it fair to like want to blame somebody for the
gotta find
that was all my wife told my son when he came home tonight from college to get his groceries. It's a whole nother deal, but he comes home to get his groceries. He said, your dad was awful last night. He was not fun to be around. And that was a 3.5 hour. That was misery. Yep. That was absolute misery because at some point I was like, okay, you think in that type of game, right, guys, you're going to be like, okay, we're going to win this football game. I did not feel like we were going to win that football game until we tackled them and won the game. I thought we were going to lose a football game. It was miserable.
I felt we were going to win the game up until about halfway through the fourth quarter. I started getting like, oh crap, we're not going to do it. And then we finally did. So it was, I don't know. But
I never felt that Georgia was going to lose that game. I truly never. I truly never felt that they were going to lose the game.
They got the ball back with 5 minutes left and they were down by 1 point. You didn't think at that point we could lose this football game?
That's when I did. That's when I turned was on there. And they got that.
Yeah. No, I never felt like they were going to lose. I will say the one time where I was like, if this were to happen, maybe, is that fourth down. That fourth down play that Stoops just punted the ball away. I was truly blown away. And I get why he did it, right? He had the 2-minute warning, he had 3 timeouts. He thought his defense could, and had it not been for Arian Smith picking up that ball, his defense, did their job. But there was never a time where I was like, man, Georgia is in fear of losing this game. I thought for the longest time, Georgia was just going to open it up. They were going to score 2 touchdowns in a quarter, 3 touchdowns in a quarter. We were going to be talking about this game.
But they never did.
I know. But I kept feeling like that was going to happen. I never felt like Georgia was not going to be in that situation to where they were going to pull away.
Yeah. Well, so was there any good? Did we have any good that you guys?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Do we have any impact players or impact players?
We do. Before we do that, though, let's just praise the defense real quick.
Yeah.
Defense, the whole entire defense, and they were gassed, guys. Kentucky ran a ton of plays.
Yeah. And
that defensive line was without a lot of players. They had to play a lot of young kids. A lot of guys play. Ingram Dawkins, I want to say, played like 63 out of the 78 snaps or something like that.
Gosh.
Didn't like him and two other players play like 173 snaps. It was ridiculous what they did combined.
173.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. Whatever.
You just threw out. I was going to say, what type of game did you?
It was a lot of snaps.
No, yeah. He played like close to 80% of snaps on the defensive line. Just props to that defensive line, even though at times they were getting just ran through.
They were.
There just weren't enough guys to, which we've seen with Kirby and them for so long, is be able to rotate those guys in, right?
Yeah.
And fresh bodies after fresh body. There just weren't enough fresh bodies to contend with that, and that's something that moving forward, this season, I'll tell you right now, this season is just all about staying healthy and depth. And Kirby's been saying the depth thing since day one. This season is all about depth because the 12-team playoff, you can get in, right? You can stumble a couple times. Now, you don't want to stumble against a Kentucky, right? You can stumble a couple times and still get in. But this season is all about depth. It is. There's nothing else than that. And this bye week couldn't come at a better time. Before we get into our M. Jones heating and cooling players of the game, we're going to talk about M. Jones right quick, guys. They've got for UGA sports fanatics. I'm not going to say fans. We're all fanatics here tonight. They want to offer
Georgia sports, right? All Georgia sports, not just UGA.
All Georgia sports. Tonight we're going hard about Georgia. Then we'll probably have 3 or 4 minutes at the end where we talk about the Falcons and the Braves like we always do. They want to offer 10% off repairs and 5% off new installs if you call in or if you're on their website, mention UGAsports.com. They will take great care of you. M. Jones Heating and Air. They are a Rude Preferred Pro Partner. I don't know if you guys know what that means. That means that they've got to do pretty damn good work in order to get the Rude badge to brand them and say that they're a pro partner. So, Eddie, these guys are legit. Andy, these guys are legit. If you need any type of repairs on your heating and cooling system, guys, it's getting a little chilly. It's getting close. I don't know if we're in that false fall right now.
Not quite there yet, but it's coming.
It's false fall because this week I think it's going to click. I think it's going to hit 90 again this week. So.
Okay, all right. Thanks for ruining my week, Andy. But when we get to that fall, make sure you're calling mjoneshvac.com. Give them a buzz or hit them up on their website if you're a web guy and get them to come look at your HVAC unit before you're sitting there and it's a 13 to 12 game and the HVAC goes out.
Yeah, you're sweating like crazy. Yeah, you got to
sweating or it's the middle of November. You're freezing to death.
Yeah,
you can't keep buying.
I'll keep saying it, Paul. 2025, all the regulations are changing. The prices are being jacked up. Okay, because of new regulations from the government, new green energy laws. Yeah. If you have a problem, call them now and have that problem fixed now. Because if you wait till January 1st, 2025. Prices are going to be way up.
So can I get?
Hey, look, this is not a paid sponsorship from Mountain Man 73. He says M. Jones is elite. Guys, give him a buzz. And what we do every week, we do the M. Jones Impact Player of the Game and also the M. Jones Impact Play of the Game. How long did it take you guys? Because I'm not good at show prep. How long did it take you guys to find an impact?
Well, you're not good at it. You just don't do it. I mean,
all right, Eddie, let's calm down. Okay, I feel like you're kind of telling on me.
I'm not going to calm down. It's the truth. I
feel like if the teacher, the professor Roddy was watching, you're trying to get me in trouble.
He would agree with me.
I feel like you're trying to get me in trouble here. How long did it take you guys to find an impact player of this game? Was it instant?
2 seconds.
Mine was instant, just because.
Okay. Yeah. Instant. Well, I'm going to take mine first because that's what I'll do. Jalen Walker.
Yes.
God almighty. the being able to have him rush off do what he does, right?
You and Josh Maddox. Yeah.
Hey, Josh Maddox, says Jalen Walker. See, I didn't have to do any homework. Josh has got me.
He spelled his name wrong, but that's okay.
Hey, that's okay.
That's okay.
Troutman says, I am a fanatic. Damn right, brother. We all are. That's why we're here. We appreciate you here. Yeah, Jalen Walker. You'd want to talk about a guy whose stock is just drastically on the rise. You know that NFL teams are looking at him like, oh my God, can you just stop producing? Because we want to take you in like the second round and nobody else, have you on their board. This kid's a freak.
I'm not going to belabor this, but that sack he made was a perfect tackle. That was not
I didn't agree with that.
15-yard penalty. Yeah. That was he did not drive, and he got up and he was like, are you kidding me? I mean, what are you supposed to do? Hover in the air? That was a perfect play. And just to take this one step further, Paul, he had 8 pressures in the game. The guy was all over the field. He is a beast. Wow. I love your call. He is quickly becoming my favorite player. He is awesome.
Is he the best player on our defense right now?
Now he is.
Just wait till
Mike Hell's coming back next week or in 2 weeks, so we'll see. Right now he is.
You get Mike Hell back out there with the emergence of Jalen Walker, the emergence of Ingram Dawkins in the middle,
TID,
the emergence of KJ Bolden.
KJ Bolden he sure.
You have Starks back there. You have more games under CJ Allen and Raylan Wilson's belt, along with a healthy Smile Munden. Mm-hmm. This is a good defense. Like
damn right.
You're not gonna score on this defense. They haven't let up a touchdown yet, right? So nope. They're averaging 6 points per game right now. Does that change against Alabama? I'm sure it's probably going to go up a little bit, but they're a good defense. That's my impact player.
That's a great call, Paul.
The offense played terrible last night too, and so they put them in bad spots, and they were tired, and they kept going. So yeah, the defense.
I love it.
Great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, mine is Trevor Etienne. I know it's low hanging fruit, but
it's a little low hanging fruit, but we'll take it.
But if he was not running the ball, we'll look at Trevor Etienne's numbers: 19 carries, 79 yards. He averaged 4.2. Carson Beck averaged 3.6. But then we had 5 touches from the other running backs. They averaged 2.5 and 0.7. So he's the dude. He's the dude back there. He's got to I think he needs 15, 20, 25 touches a game. He's my impact player. If it wasn't for him, we don't win the game. Yeah. If it's not for him, we don't win the game because my impact play, I'll get to in a minute, but I'll go ahead and give you a little hint. He's involved in that one too.
Hey, what you got? M. Jones, HVAC, impact player of the game.
Brett Thorson.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Why are you doing that, Paul? I mentioned this going into the year. I said the kicking game and the punting game are going to be reasons that this team wins a national championship.
6 points.
We do not win this football game without Brett Thorson booming the football. He was on the field a lot this game, Paul. You can shake your head all you want, but he was. Okay. He had 6 punts for 297 yards, 49 average, and he put 3 inside the 20.
Yes.
This was a field position game because our offense did not do crap. Right. We had to do something and punt the ball. Brett Thorson was my player of the game. Impact player of the game.
I'm not taking away from your player of the game. I just think when we're sitting here and we're doing this impact player of the game, I hope for the rest of the season none of us have to pick.
I agree with you, but that 13-12, that's
Eddie, you could argue his 58-yard punt was the play of the game because
exactly right.
Now he did I think he got that one off his foot a little bit off the side, but still.
Paul, if we win a game against Tennessee and it's 47-7 and I call Brett Thorson as a player of the game, then you can crap on me.
I'm not. It's not.
You did this. You did this. You did this.
And it wasn't.
No, you did that. I watched you do it.
No, how'd I do it? One more time.
Yeah.
No, I did it because one of the 3 impact players of the game was the punter. It shouldn't be like that. You're Georgia.
You're doing it not because I called it. Because
no, that's a great pick.
It's a reality.
Yeah. It's a great pick, but it's just like, that's one of the best. And he was one of the best 3 players for Georgia and most impactful. So, I don't know. Andy, what's your M. Jones impactful play of the game?
My play of the game was Trevor Etienne when he had the 17-yard run and he almost scored. He stepped out on the 11-yard line and, he tiptoed it, but he did step out. But if he does not break that run off the side and we get that run, we do not score the touchdown to win the game. So that was my play of the game. So,
Yeah, that was a great run, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
The catch reversal with Dom Lovett.
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of people on Twitter, X, whatever you call it now, say that like that play shouldn't have been reverted. I thought from the moment I saw it, it was incomplete pass.
It immediately hit the ground.
Yeah, it was on the ground,
up in the air. That was a no-brainer of a call, and we went to commercials for an hour, and they had to review it, and we looked at it. But if that call is not reversed, Paul, that's 7 points. We lose that football game.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
Kentucky's got all the momentum. I was like, oh my God. I mean, when I watched it live, I was like, this is reversed, right? But I mean,
when I watched it live, I thought it was a pick. I didn't think it hit the ground.
Well, okay. Yeah. We watched Isaiah Bond last year catch a ball off the ground, and that was
Eddie's just digging in your wounds, Andy.
I'm saying we don't have to bring that up.
Well, all I'm saying is that plays are crazy like that, and you never know what the refs are going to do. And when we went to commercial, I looked at my wife, like, if they call this a catch and then a fumble or whatever they're going to call it and a touchdown, we're screwed. And they could have very well done that. You just don't know nowadays what's going on. So, I mean, thank God they got it right, and that saved the game for us.
Yeah, that was a big play. And again, I didn't think. I thought watching it, I was like, oh man, that's a pick 6. This is not good. Then instantly, when you saw the replay, you were like, that's not a complete pass.
Yeah, but you also
I woke up this morning, Andy, and folks on Twitter are going a little bit berserk over saying that play shouldn't have been reversed. And I was like,
I don't know. You see, the comments are saying he was down anyway, and that's the thing. Like his knee was on the ground before the ball ever went up.
I didn't even look at his knee. All I was looking at was
I didn't either.
His knee. That's what. There's a couple of guys in the comments talking about it. That's what he was down. So I wasn't sure either. Yeah, that was a. But
impact play of the game for me. It's one that. We'll look back on this person's career and be like, man, it's probably not going to make his highlight reel, but it will definitely, in his own right, in his own head, in the coaching staff's head, make the coaching staff's highlight reel. Arian Smith jumping on that ball.
Yeah.
There was a Kentucky defender that was right behind that play, but he had given up. He looked at the sidelines, kind of threw his hands up, and he was
it's funny you said that, Paul, because I watched that tonight. Was he looking at the refs or the sideline?
I don't know.
He was I don't know. But you're right, 100% right. If he looks at the ball, he jumps on it. Yeah.
He was he almost tripped over the ball, looking to the sidelines, like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And I promise you, the Kentucky coaches are looking at him like, this is why you looked at it, watch the play through, da 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 da.
But I thought he was bitching at the refs. That's what
either way, bitching at the refs or at the coaches for the coverage, blowing a sign, whatever it was. Yeah. He wasn't looking at the play. And Arian Smith jumped on that ball because that was 100% a fumble, and kept that drive in Georgia's
first down.
First down.
That's why they only had 9 seconds left at the end of that game. That changed the whole game.
It did.
It was a Brandon Griffin says Arian has been a leader. That's a leader type play there. Watching that.
Can I poke at this real quick? Arian's been a leader. For 2 games now, we've watched them force the ball, I'll say it that way, to Arian Smith. Where was that last night? Where was that? Why did they not get him the football?
Was not there. You did have Dom Lovett with a sneaky 6 receptions for 89 yards.
It doesn't look like it. Yeah.
I saw the final stat line. I was like, what? Yeah. He did have that 33-yard play.
That crazy catch that got tipped, and he caught that. You remember that?
Caught that one. very sneaky 6 for 89 for Dom Lovett. Other than that, nobody. I mean, there weren't any plays that really stick out to me. A lot of folks in the comments saying, "Hey, why aren't we talking about the tackles?" Yeah, Ernest Green got beat a couple times early on.
I brought that up.
Yeah, you did.
He got beat early on. They brought in Freeling, which they brought in Freeling at right tackle after Ernest had been kind of beat up twice on that drive. They brought him in at right tackle, and Ernest was still in. And I saw Freeling in. I was like, oh, okay. They did bring him in maybe to just bring Ernest to the sideline. No, it was for Truss, who I thought was having a pretty decent game. But yeah, Ernest struggled a little bit. I don't think it's anything to worry about. You haven't had to worry about Ernest. Shoot, ever? I mean, have we ever really brought up Ernest as a net negative for Georgia?
No, not at all.
I'll tell you what, Deion Walker, that dude's
he's a good player.
And that might have been could have been why Jared Wilson had those snap foos, because he was lining up right on top of Jared Wilson and saying, I'm coming for you. Right when I see that ball movement, you better get going. And when you see a guy like that,
it's only going to get better against Bama, Tennessee, etc. So he better be ready for that.
Yeah.
But I agree. The tackles, Truss didn't have his best game either. So tackles got to improve a little bit on that. But you got to get open downfield, guys. There was plenty of plays, and we'll have Film Don't Lie on here shortly after us. There were plenty of plays where they showed back the replay, and I just could not find anybody open downfield for Beck to throw the ball to.
Yeah, that's the thing. We have a lot of people, the Bobo hate's always there, but when you don't have anyone open, what's Beck supposed to do? I know Beck was throwing some bad balls, but at least he wasn't forcing it to double coverage, and there wasn't guys open downfield. So
one guy that we thought, I guess, Eddie, that we thought we were going to be talking about a lot more than we are right now, Dylan Bell.
Yeah.
I thought Dylan Bell
he had an opportunity. I mean, and I don't know if it was him or Carson Beck that couldn't hook up on that long pass, but you're right. I mean, once again, you get Arian Smith involved like they've done in the past 2 games. Get Dylan Bell involved. You're exactly right. Line him up at running back. Why not set 2 running backs there, Dylan Bell and ETN? Why not? Make them think a little bit. I don't know.
This play right here from Brandon Griffin, I'll give Bobo credit for passing on second down to pick up the first down under 2 minutes to go. Was afraid he was going to run again on second. Yeah, that took some brass balls. Right?
That was some balls. Yeah, no
doubt. Because if that play does not execute,
the throw by Beck. Yeah, that was a great throw by Beck because he threw it where only the wide receiver could catch it. Yeah, it was a good play.
I'd like to see a little bit more back shoulder to Colby Young. We've seen it at least one time a game so far. It's gone for a touchdown, I think. And the first one it did. The second one was it wasn't a touchdown, but it was another back shoulder throw. They did it to him again in this game. He needs a little bit more targets, in my opinion. I like him, and I'd like to see Bell, like I said, kind of get involved a little bit more. We thought this was gonna be probably his wide receiver room, him and Lovett, and we're just sitting there waiting, right? What do you guys think? I already know your answer to this. What do you think about Georgia moving down to number 2 in the polls?
Good. They should. I mean, I know Texas was playing UTSA, but they should. When you play like that, you don't deserve to be the number 1 team when other teams are out there putting up 50, 60, 70 points a game. So yeah, I think it's good. I like it. I wish we would go to 5, to be honest with you.
You just wanted to drop, huh?
I do. Yeah.
So. Josh Skelton says, I love it for the bye. Goat Dog says, being 2 this early is no concern.
Oh,
I think if anything, it's good. You drop 1, show these players, hey, you're not invincible. And if you think this was a tough environment,
wait till the next week.
All these games, and I thought about this last night while I was watching the game. Normally, the big marquee matchup for the SEC was at 3:30, right? Mm-hmm. Middle of the afternoon. Yeah, sure, the crowd got hyped. All these games now, they're 7:30.
Yeah, they are.
Mm-hmm. They're night games.
Yep.
And for Georgia this year, I don't have they announced it for. I know they have for Bama, right? It's a 7:30. Can you look up the other times for Texas and Ole Miss, Andy? I want to say they're 7:30. They're all night games.
Yeah.
And these folks, they drink all day, just like a good Georgia fan does. They're going to be ready to go at 7:30, like Kentucky was. Kentucky is a great primer for what you're going to see moving forward with these 7:30 kickoffs. Is brother, like that's the primetime game ABC wants, is that 7:30 kick, and the crowd is going to be heavily involved the rest of the way for Georgia.
They're still to be determined. The only game time set is Bama 7:30. Of course, Florida's 3:30, and then UMass is 12:45, and of course the Georgia Tech game is Friday night. But yeah, the Ole Miss.
I would be surprised if they don't put those games at like.
That's going to be prime time. Yeah, I could see Herbie and I could see that being Chris Fowler and Herbie calling those games.
Okay, so I got in the weeds. This is my 30,000-foot view. Yes, Georgia. I'm with Andy. We should be 5. Honestly, Texas 1, Ohio State 2, Bama 3,
Tennessee,
maybe, I don't know, maybe 4. Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. Let's think back to last year, guys. Auburn versus Alabama. Y'all remember that game, 4th and 31, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably cost us a chance in the national championship. Everybody, including you guys, watched that football game. We're like, Bama and all that.
We're going to. Yeah,
they're not too good. We're going to run roughshod over Alabama in the SEC championship. And what happened? Bama manhandled us for 4 quarters, and we lost that game by 3 points because Georgia looked at the headlines, and you can say, oh, they don't pay attention to that bull crap. The players pay attention to this stuff. They looked at the headlines. They looked at that game. We got this, guys. We're going to kill Bama, and it didn't happen. Well, I think the reverse of that is true right now. For 2 weeks now, Bama beat Wisconsin 42-10.
Yeah, smoked them.
And they are rolling. All right. Everybody's sucking off Alabama. They're just awesome. Okay. And for 2 weeks, we're number 2 now. Everybody's going to crap on Georgia. They're a front runner. They're not as good as we thought. And Kirby is going to use this to his advantage. He is going to challenge these guys like he's never challenged them before. And I'm telling you, they're going to respond. And we're going to go to Tuscaloosa and we're going to lay a whooping on Alabama. I promise you guys, this is what's coming. It's going to happen. This is perfect. Kirby Smart in the interviews was probably like, Kentucky played us tough. This was a tough game.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Behind the scenes, I guarantee he is loving this because we won the game. That's the biggest thing. And he can use everything in this game and say, you guys think you're all that. You suck. You better get your act together. He can use this 100%. This is a perfect game for Kirby Smart to go against Alabama. If we had won this game 42-10, I think we lose to Alabama.
I agree. I think it's the best thing that could happen to us. I mean, you got 2 weeks to go out there and hear every day how bad you played, how good Alabama.
Right. And what's the spread right now, Paul? Is it? I think Bama. I think we're favored by 4.5, roughly.
No,
I think it's 2.5. I think we're 2.5 favorites.
2.5.
Yeah, Georgia's still. As I see right now, it's at 3.5. Georgia's minus 3.5, but I'm sure that's.
I bet you by the end of the 2 weeks, Bama's favored. I bet you it flips that much.
That's a pretty big flip. But I think your diatribe there is kind of spot on because and what sucks is I was gonna ask like right before you started, hey, does this change the outlook for the season for either one of you? And you went ahead and did it. So it's like you were reading my mind because I was gonna ask you, Andy, for you, what does this? Does this change the season for you? Does this?
Well, he's sour and 12-0 boy, right?
I think it was a good thing. I think we see things we got to work on. I think, and then given I said we were going to smoke them, I think everyone is saying we were going to smoke Kentucky, and they heard it. The team heard it, and they went through the motions. And now there's things we can work on, and I'm ready for Bama. I think they're going to be ready to go. I think it's going to be a good time for the good guys down in Tuscaloosa.
Here's my only concern because I agree with both of you that Georgia needed. And it's like you said, Eddie, much better when you walk away with a win and can build on that, as opposed to losing to Kentucky, 15-13 or whatever off of a field goal there, because you're still in your own driver's seat. You're 3-0. Nothing changes, right? Whether you won the game 42-10 or 13-12, at the end of the year,
it's a W.
It's a W. So, I think there are some weaknesses that we didn't know that this team would have.
Agreed.
That Kentucky exposed. The biggest thing for this coaching staff will be, can they overcome that and kind of scheme around that and work to get guys open, wide receivers open, or work to do not so much like trick plays, but work other packages in, something, that can happen with that. Also, running back depth. I know Andy wants Etienne to go 20 carries a game.
I do.
I'd like to be able to see some more guys get going, just in case Etienne were to go down for any time. Josh Maddox has. I was going to bring this up too. He says we better figure out how to keep Milroe in check. That guy's the X factor in this game. Bama goes as Milroe goes, in my opinion. Yes,
sure,
100%.
There's plenty of things from this game that the Bama staff is going to look at and say, well, look at how Brock was able to, maneuver and get out on some of those plays. We can do that too. So it'll be interesting. I'm glad that Georgia has a bye, because it's much needed, even though we're only 3 games into the season, to get that defensive line back healthy. But man, it's going to be an interesting game. And I agree with you, Eddie. I think that line is going to flip. So if you think Georgia's going to win this game, just wait before you put your bet in, because you could probably get a little better odds, better number, waiting until at least next week. We didn't get too far into our show notes, guys.
That's okay.
Well, they dominate, right? I mean, come on, Georgia dominate.
Yeah. Real quick, Andy, run us through the GHSA, because I like that segment that we have.
Okay.
We'll bring Dane Young in here.
So Harrison beat Pebblebrook 31-19. Eddie, you wanted to comment on that one real quick?
Yeah, I was at that game with my wife, my beautiful wife, who watched Harrison. Simon Zadon, he's a kicker for Harrison. That guy kicks it out of the end zone every time.
So you're just all on the specialist today.
This is special teams. Man.
Special teams win you football games. They do. All right. And quarterback Xavier Hill, 89 rushes, 178 passing yards, 3 TDs. That guy's special. Harrison got something going on there. It was fun to watch. It was fun to be there.
Thanks for the invite. That sounds fun.
You come. You wouldn't have driven from Royce into Harrison. Give me that.
I don't even know where that's at. I don't even know where that's at, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
There's no chance he's doing that.
Exactly.
Marist, Eddie's favorite school, beat Northview 57-0. That's a butler.
Damn, that's a Tennessee Kent State
average offensive coordinator, 57 points.
That's impressive. Buford beat Douglas County 31-14 in a really good game that was on TV.
In that game, 16 commits to major schools. Commits. And they're guys who have not made a decision yet. So there are probably 20 kids out there on that field that are going to major schools. Ridiculous football game.
We got the Fighting Paul Maharry's, the Monroe area. They beat Walnut Grove 14-10. That's a big. Yeah, that's.
Hey, we're undefeated. And also, from last week's show, Appalachia and Monroe did not play.
They did not. No.
And I didn't think they would, but for whatever reason, Andy looked it up on Max Preps. There was a score there for each quarter. Yeah. I looked at it. I did some show prep, Eddie. I looked at it. I said, "There's no way they played this. There's no way they played this game."
Yeah.
I looked at it. There was a score. I said, "Oh, they must have played." They did not play. By the time we got off of air last Sunday night, the score and the box score was gone from that game. Obviously, because they didn't play. So somebody went in there and put a score in for some reason. Yeah. So, but Monroe is undefeated.
And so Oconee County, they beat the Stevens County 35-10. And as Mr. Brent Rollins was posting, North Oconee did beat Jefferson 35-0. That's pretty strong. That is strong. And then
that kid that North Oconee has is committed to Georgia, that wide receiver do-it-all Rolden kid.
Landon Rolden, is that how you say it? Yeah, he's good.
And Morgan County beat Cedar Shoals 41-19. So that's big. That's Cedar Shoals doesn't seem like they're doing as well, but yeah.
Cedar Shoals, I saw a thing. They have one of the top 10 highest paid football coaches in the state. and they are just getting boat raced.
Maybe they need to cut his salary. So maybe
Speaking of cutting salary,
Billy Napier.
Speaking of cutting salary, there's one guy that we probably should give a little bit more salary to, and that is our friend Dane Young for helping out last night. I really appreciate it, Dane.
You gonna tell Roddy that for me?
Yeah, I mean, but then Roddy would just take it out of my zero pay and give you a little bit more.
So I get a 0% increase.
Yeah.
Hey, we've reached September 15th, which means that there's the psychology of close losses, which that's where Georgia fans are right now and have a week to sit on that. Florida fans are at buyout mode, which that happened pretty quickly. And Florida State hasn't won a game yet. And the sneaky game that I'm super excited about is Cal at Florida State. Because, man, it is in an election year, because the Twitterverse is all about that, too.
I saw your post. That was very funny.
If you really dive into Cal Twitter right now, there's some folks out.
Pretty funny.
Shaquille O'Neal meme, I was unfamiliar with your game.
Yeah. They started that whole thing once they beat Auburn, I think. They started that.
Cal's beating Florida State. They are absolute hot garbage.
They're garbage, yeah.
I mean, come on.
But when Cal was playing Auburn, Jim Donald looked at me and he said, "That quarterback for Cal, that's an NFL quarterback." And I was like, "Oh,
there you go.
I didn't know that." Go look at Cal's schedule. Sneaky ACC contender. Wouldn't that be?
Who predicted that?
Somebody's got to win that division. Somebody has to. I think I saw a tweet. It was after the first week, or it might have been the second week. It said, "We do legally have to crown an ACC champion and put them in the playoff. That, like, legality-wise, we have to put them in."
Could you imagine if Cal gets into the playoff and going their first year in the ACC?
Well, all right, so when Georgia plays Alabama that same day, Miami has to go to Cal, which is kind of funny.
Classic ACC matchup. Yeah.
That may be top of the ACC standings there. And one other, like, did y'all see the Cal coach was having to yell at fans with the ref's microphone to stop throwing things on the field? My favorite joke I heard all day. This came from the Shutdown Fullcast. You know, there were students there. There's like, who's that guy?
Yeah.
Why is he telling us to stop doing this? Who is that?
That's great.
Different world.
Shout out to Cal, man. I didn't think we were going to end the show on a Cal special, but shout out to Cal. Dane, what's on tap for FDL?
We are starting with what happened with Georgia's offense. And there's a lot there. Blocking issues. I know people want to harp on play calling, but I think this is execution as much as anything. And
so Brent Ellens is not going to call for Mike Bobo's firing? That's what I want to see.
I don't think anyone's going to be calling for Mike Bobo's firing.
Eddie, but if you do, go do a super chat for the FDL, because that we can't get that show monetized because we're using the plays. If you were to give a large enough super chat, I think Brent Rollins would do anything you'd like. So he might just.
Now,
I know joke, by the way. I'm not in that camp, but I was just throwing it out there because that's what you see, Dane, is Bobo. It's so tired. Get Bobo out of here. He sucks. I'm just so tired of that narrative. My goodness.
Hey, so they could. Hey, some of it could be him. Some of it could be him.
I'm sure there's a part of it, but it's not as bad as people say.
Okay, I will read you a text from Brenton Rollins, and then you'll have to watch film. Don't lie to figure out which play he's talking about. He says, worst play in Georgia's playbook for 3 straight games. Throw it the F out. Now, Brent doesn't curse like that, but he did abbreviate it. So you'll have to see which one that is. That's as close as you'll get to
I like the teaser
criticism.
Yeah. Oh, man,
and I just revealed a private text, so we'll see how that goes.
Before Andy and Eddie do the same thing, we're going to get up out of here, guys. We appreciate you so much for watching with us. I think it's our largest watch show, and rightfully so, because with misery.
Misery loves company.
Hey, you know what the best part of this show was? We didn't have to talk about the doggone Falcons. We did not even mention them.
Guess what, Eddie? You've really just kind of screwed the pooch there, because next week we don't have Georgia and we have 2 Falcons games to go over.
Well, I didn't screw anything. That's next week, Paul. I'm talking about tonight. We did not talk about the Falcons.
Eddie, Justin Fields threw a touchdown pass to Darnell Washington today.
Doesn't that just hurt your feelings?
For the Steelers.
Hey, guys, before you leave out, like the Mountain Man always says,
please.
M. Jones HVAC is good people, and he says smash that like button to help these fellers out. We appreciate you so much. Stick around for FDL. What time are you going live, Dane? Right after
Now.
All right. Yeah, we're running over. We'll see you later, guys. Thanks so much.